here. Thank you so much for joining me for this mat reformer combo class. We're going to be taking stuff on the mat, putting it on the reformer, same principles, same general ideas, moving from one piece of equipment or one style of Pilates to another. So to go ahead and begin, I am on my mat. If you have a mat that's raised up off the ground a little bit or has a strap, you can feel free to use that on some of the exercises. I will be using my strap on some exercises, not to hold my feet down, but to realize a deeper connection in my abdominals and lengthen through my body on the exercises, which I'll be cueing for. If you don't have a strap and you have a pillow that's a little larger, maybe a little heavier, or a bed pillow, you can place that over your ankles, and the additional weight of the pillow will actually help you connect deeper with your abdominals as well, even though the pillow is most likely not very heavy, right? So to go ahead and begin, I'm going to go ahead, hold on gently behind my knees. I have a slight bend in my knees, and I'm sitting up tall. I'm going to tuck my tail, roll back to the mat. To begin, we're going to start with the ballet stretches, just to get a nice length in our legs. So I'm going to stretch out long in both legs, reaching both toes for the ends of the mat. I'm going to take my left knee, and without tucking up on my hips, I want to leave both my back hip bones grounded, my sacrum firmly grounded. So I have my whole sacrum flat. I'm in a neutral spine. I'm going to hold on underneath my knee. I don't want to hold on to my knee. I'm going to hold under the shin, piece of the shin right under my patella. And I'm gently going to widen my elbows to the side while pressing my sacrum down to stretch out the glute just a little bit, crease up through the front of the hip. Take another nice deep breath here. And then without hiking my hip, I'm going to extend my leg up. If your leg's here, that's fine. If your leg's here, that's fine. As long as you're keeping that nice neutral spine and not hiking your hip to get your leg in there. You'll know because this knee that's extended will bend a lot. So that I'm not rounding on my shoulders and hiking up, I'm going to hold on to the back of my thigh underneath my knee. If I need more of a stretch, I'm going to bend my elbows gently to the side. Make sure your sacrum's flat, your back of your hips are flat on the mat. Sink that 12th rib back here into the mat so you're not arching in your back. Okay, we're going to take this leg across the midline. So my left leg's in the air. I'm going to take my right hand and place it on the outside of my left thigh closer to my knee. I'm going to pull the leg across the midline. My left hip is going to float off, but again, the 12th rib that we're talking about, go ahead and find it with your fingers. We're going to leave that connected to the mat. I'm going to extend my left hand to the side, and I can look out at my fingertips for a nice good morning or good afternoon or cervical warm-up. Stretch that right leg long. Come back through the center. Place that left hip down. Release your right hand. Take your left hand. Place it underneath the knee on the back of the thigh. Bring your leg a few inches away from the midline. Don't allow that right hip to pop up when you do so. So pull it down and now bend your elbow wide to bring that leg up towards your ear. Leave that back hip grounded. Now, if you want to walk your hand up your thigh, don't walk it up so your shoulder's popped. Leave that shoulder pressing firmly into the mat. Squeeze under the arm. Think of pulling down on your leg. If you've ever done a mat class with me before and you've heard me cue open leg rocker by pulling down on your leg to engage under your arm, same situation here. Bend at the elbow to bring the foot up by the ear area or towards the ear section in the air. We're going to come back to the center. We're going to give our knee another hug. Might feel a little different now that you're stretched out. Extend that leg long. Take your right leg in, holding on underneath the patella on the shin. Pull that knee in. You might not be able to get in it as far as me, no problem. Make sure that you're not tucking up though, right? So make sure you have a nice flat sacrum. Bring the knee in and then allow the weight of your hands to coax your knee in further and bend it a little bit more. Good. Extend your leg up or away from you. Hold on to the thigh wherever you can. Bend the elbows wide if you can access that stretch. Keep the back hip down. Stretch the left leg long. Make sure that you're not flaring your back. If you can feel it in your back, try to draw your ribs together on the front and sink that back 12th rib down. There will be a slight lift between your sacrum and your 12th rib. Now, taking your left hand, place it on the outside of the thigh towards the knee. Pull your leg across the midline. Float that right hip up, but leave that 12th rib in the mat. Extend your right hand out to a T. Look over your hand for a nice cervical stretch. Bend your elbow a little bit more to pull your knee towards you. Leave that shoulder blade flat on the mat though. A lot of times when I notice people want to reach up, they round up at their shoulder blades. We want to keep our shoulder blades nice and flat to establish a good body position for the rest of the exercises this class. Bring your leg up to the ceiling. Release your left hand. Take your right hand underneath the knee. Bring it away from the midline. Again, I was talking about the other side, so if you come up too far, this hip will pop. We don't want that. We want to leave that hip down, down, down. Bring the leg to the side. Bend your elbow like a bicep curl. I like to point and flex my toes a little bit while I'm stretching. I think it feels nice. Good, we're going to come back up to the center. Bend our knee back in. Place our hands on the shin underneath the knee. Pull the knee into the chest. Good, bring the other knee up. Hold on behind your knees. Rock up to sitting. If you want, you can place your feet under your strap or place your pillow over your feet. We're going to have a slight bend in our knees. The most important part of this is that you shouldn't feel it in your hip flexors. The closer that you sit to the bend in your knees, the harder it is to sit up straight and the more pressure or stress you feel in your hip flexors. We want to release the hip flexors. They'll work a little bit, but we want to leave them nice and loose. My heels are directly under my sits bones. So my sits bones on the back are lined up with my knees are lined up with my big toe. I'm going to wrap my ribs, stack my shoulders over my hips, drop up, 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 nice long neck, shoulders away from the ears. Reach the arms in front of you. I have my palms slightly up to encourage the dropping of my shoulder blades down my back. From here, we're just going to tuck our pelvis. To tuck, you shouldn't come way far back. The tuck is just a drawing of the pelvis up to the nose and the release. Nothing's moving other than my pelvis tightening. It's a very small movement. Good. I feel a deepening in my abdominal connection. My belly button drops to my spine. I release. I wrap my ribs and I... One more. On this next one, we're going to roll back to or articulate back to our sacrum. So first we're going to tuck, come back to the sacrum, come back to the tuck, and release. And find the tuck. Come back to the sacrum. Try to leave your heels connected. Come back to the tuck. Release one more and tuck. Articulate back. Vertebra by vertebra. Now roll up, vertebra by vertebra. Find the tuck and find the release. So oftentimes in the articulation back, people want a flat back, lean back, and they're not finding the articulation vertebra by vertebra. It's like placing a strand of pearls down on a table, one pearl at a time. Now reach back. We're going to find that 12th rib again. It's lower than you think it is, right? It's not up here. These are the tips of your shoulder blades. We're going to find that too, but right now we're going to find the 12th rib on the back. So we're going to tuck, find the sacrum, continue to articulate just your 12th rib. Now pull up to the sacrum, pull up your tuck, and release. These are landmarks that you should be hitting every time in your articulation, right? So tuck, find your sacrum, find your 12th rib. Find your sacrum, find your tuck, neutral spine. Make sure that your knees aren't going in or out when you do this. If they are, find a yoga block or a squishy ball, place them between your knees, give some pressure there. If you feel your feet start to float off, use more abdominals and more articulation. Tuck, and sacrum, and 12th rib. Come back to the sacrum, come back to the tuck, release to neutral spine. We're gonna roll back to the very bottom tips of our shoulder blades. This will be the hundreds position where you curl up. Same position, most likely. We're gonna try to find the tips of our shoulder blades here. So our curl up might be a little deeper, more rib to hip connection. Tuck, find your sacrum, find your 12th rib, find the tips of your shoulder blades. Find your 12th rib, find your sacrum, find your tuck, and release, and tuck, and sacrum, and 12th rib, and tips of your shoulder blades. See the curl pendulum position? Ribs, sacrum, tuck, release, one more, and tuck. Find your sacrum, find your 12th rib, find the tips of your shoulder blades, find the 12th rib, find the sacrum, find the tuck, and release. We are going to do a half roll up because we're going to come back up to neutral spine. Our knees are going to be bent. So we're going to tuck, find our sacrum, find our 12th rib, find the tips of the blades, release your head, neck, and shoulders slowly with control. Reach your fingertips up towards the ceiling, hovering over where your sternum and 12th rib be or your bra straps. So they're not up here. Leave them down here, squeezing under the arms. Now, allowing your arms to float up with you, don't swing them up. Come to the tips of your shoulder blades. Come to your 12th rib. Come to your sacrum. Find the tuck and release. And tuck. And sacrum. And 12th rib. And tips of your shoulder blades. And release. And tips of your shoulder blades. And 12th rib. If you find your feet floating up, try to find more abs. Sacrum. Tuck. And release. We have one more in this warm-up, guys. We're going to tuck. Find our sacrum. Find the 12th rib. Find the tips of the shoulder blades. Make sure your fingertips are coming out over your sternum, your 12th rib. Find your tips of your shoulder blades in the 100th position, right? Find the 12th rib. Find the sacrum. Find the tuck. Release. Stretch your legs out long. Reach your arms up overhead. Place your left hand down on the mat. Bend your elbow in to your hip, not back. So you're popping your shoulder blade. And use it as support to reach up. You're reaching for where the wall and the ceiling meet to the left side. Now, come back up. Switch arms. Right arm comes down. Left arm comes up. Bend the right elbow into your hip as you reach to the side. Find length on both sides. You don't want to crunch to the side that you're bending on. And reach up. You want to be at a nice neutral spine here. If you find that you cannot sit up tall, try placing a wedge or a pillow or a yoga block underneath your sits bones when your legs are extended long. Obviously, when we're rolling back, it's not as beneficial to place a block under your low back when you're finding your head, neck, and shoulders flat on the mat. And come back up, leaving your left arm up, reach your right arm up to meet it, wrap your ribs, sit up tall, hinge forward. Again, reach for where the wall and the ceiling meet in front of you with a nice flat back. You want a straight line from the tip top of your head, shooting out through your tailbone, and now fold over your legs from the ground back. Now, roll back, roll back, roll back, all the way to the mat. I'm going to scoot down a little bit. We're going to do single leg circles. I'm going to take my left leg out. I bent it in, drug my toe along the mat. So when my toe is touching my knee, I'm going to extend it up to the ceiling. Now adjust as you need to find a nice neutral spine. Flex your foot to lower it to your working level and point it to lift it back up. And flex to lower. Again, when we do this, we want to make sure that we're not raising our left hip. We're keeping it completely stable. And inhale and exhale. Now, leave your leg in parallel. We're going to cross the midline, Back to the normal position or the center position, away from the midline. Pull that hip down again and back, just like we did on the ballet stretches. So IT band stretch, inner thigh stretch. Obviously not as far as we don't have the support of our arms. Nice flat shoulder blades. If you feel it in your back, sink your ribs down. Make sure you're not flaring in your back. Good. And away. Now stop. Now we're going to do tiny leg circles. Inhale across and exhale back up. Don't swing your leg. Here's 3. If you need a challenge, bring your arms up to a V. Plug your shoulders into the mat. Here's 4. Extend that right leg long. Press it down into the mat for support. Flat your arms down by your sides and reverse. Inhale the outside and exhale across. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. Good. And 6. And now bend the knee in. Hold onto the shin under the knee. Press that back hip down. Now, place the toe on the mat right next to the knee and slide it back down under your pillow or your strap. Take the right foot, slide it along the toe along the mat until your toe touches your knee. Extend it up towards the ceiling. Find a nice neutral spine here again. Now flex to lower to working level. Working level is where your legs would be for hundreds. And point to lift. Lower and lift. So a 45-degree angle. Good. Really find the length in that left leg. Stretching out the front of the psoas or the front of the hip. Good. And now, inhale across the midline. Keep the hip down. Back through the original position. Away, keeping this hip down. And inhale, so find the hip stability. And inhale and exhale. 1 more. Good. Come back to center. Inhale across the body for the leg circles. And exhale away and back up. Inhale across the midline and exhale to lift. Here's 3. On 4, 5, and 6, we have the option of lifting our arms up to a V, plugging the shoulder blades into the mat. Make sure that your ribs aren't flaring. And 6, platform your arms down by your side, pressing into your triceps for support. Nice wide collarbone. And we're going to go the opposite way. Inhale your leg to the outside and exhale across the midline. 1 more, and then you have the option of adding on. If you want, lift your arms up to the V, plug your shoulder blades down your back, and exhale up. Now hug your knee into your chest. Squeeze it in nice and gentle. Extend your leg long back under the strap. Fingertips up to the ceiling. 1 more articulation up. Rolling through those positions. Point tall, shake out your legs. Great job. Let's go ahead and come to the reformer. We are going to be using very light springs today. I'm going to be using 1 rod for my footwork. That's going to help me find the length that I am looking for. So I'm going to come sitting down, lying down. Headrest up or down, that's your option. The first position I'm going to find is a flexed foot position on my heels. Again, just like we did in the warm-up, my heels are going to be under my sits bones. So my sits bones, my knees, and my big toe are all going to be lined up. Now, inhale out, pressing out slowly, really finding the glute press here. So find that neutral spine, really focus on keeping that. Now, as you stretch, find the length in the fronts of your hip flexors. Now, think of a hamstring curl back in. Because the springs are so light, you can really find the curl in the back of the hamstrings. Go ahead and find a nice flat back here. Nice neutral spine. Make sure you're not sinking in that low lift in the back between the 12th rib and the top of the sacrum though. It's hard to go super fast and still work where you want to. when the springs are this light. So I feel it strongly in the backs of my legs. Good. I have a little shake here. I don't know about anybody else. Let's do 3 more. Good. And 9. 1 more. And hamstring curl to come back. Now, without moving your legs, rotate the femur in the hip socket to turn your feet out to a Pilates feet and slide your heels out so they're on the outside of the foot bar. So you're really rotating that femur in the hip socket. I feel a lot of glute connection, but my knees are tracking over my big toe still. So I don't want to find myself in a position where my knees and my toes aren't tracking because it could damage my knee. I want to protect the integrity of my knee. Again, we're doing a hamstring curl type position here. So press it out. Find that thigh muscle that starts on the inside of the knee and wraps around to the outside of your hip. Good. Spirals across the front of the thigh. And inhale. Keeping a nice neutral spine. Don't let your ribs flare. Try to focus on lengthening in the neck and widening the collarbones. Think of the shoulder blades and 12th rib melting into the carriage. Good, here's 8. Nice length in the hips. Working mostly the backs of the legs. 1 more. So come on in. Slide your feet down so you're still turned out in that wide second position, but you're on the balls of your feet. Now slide your feet together so you're in a super high heel Pilates V on the balls of your feet. My weight's primarily distributed between my big toe and my second toe, but I do have weight on my other toes as well. Depending on your foot size, etc., you might not be able to get the full thing on the foot bar. We're going to rotate the femur in the hip socket, track my knee over my big toe, press it out, find that length, find that wrap of that thigh muscle again, the one that spirals across the front of your thigh, the outside of your hip, and press it out. And in. Good. Here's 4. And 5. Here's 6. It's easier to find the push and pull from here because the springs are stretched stronger than they would have been when you were on your heels. So you have a little bit more assistance coming back in because you're stretching the springs longer on the way up. Good. 1 more in. Now we're going to switch our feet to parallel. So close the book. Bring the knees, the thighs, the calves, the ankles, the inside aspects of your feet together in a high heel position and press it out. I can find all 10 of my toes on the foot bar. I'm squeezing my glutes, lengthening in the front of the hip flexors and coming back in. And inhale and exhale. Here's inhale. Try not to lose that length in the front of your foot all the way up to your calf or your front of your shin. Good. 9. We're going to do 10. So this is 10. We're going to come back in. We're going to press it back out. We're going to do something called water wheel with our feet or water wheel body position. So we're going to drop our heels under the foot bar. Then we're going to bend our knees to resist the carriage into the bumper. When the carriage is into the bumper, we're going to rise up to a high heel position in parallel and press out long. With long legs, we're going to drop our heels under. Then we're going to bend the knees to bring the carriage into the bumper. Rise up to the high heel position and press it out. Drop your heels, bend your knees, come in. Raise your heels, straighten your legs. And drop your heels. Bend your knees to come in. Raise your heels and press out. Good. Drop and come in. Now stopping there, we're going to press out with our heels under the foot bar. Then we're going to rise up into a high heel position, and then keeping the high heel, we're going to bend our knees over the foot bar to come back in. Now don't move the carriage away from the bumper, drop your heels. Now press them under as you press the carriage long. Rise up to the balls of your feet, and bend your knees in a high heel position to come back in. Drop your heels and press. And lift. Now in high heel, bend your knees to come in. One more, drop your heels and press. And lift. And bend your knees to come back in. Good job. We're going to do some curl up and supine or lying down arm work. So I'm going to find my straps. My straps are a little tighter, so they're back a little further. I'm going to lift my legs up to tabletop. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to find that position that we found earlier on the mat, where my hands were coming out over my sternum. I'm already engaging under my arms. So my neck is already nice and long, my shoulders are away from my ears. Keeping my arms in parallel, I'm going to press my hands down to my hips, and I'm going to float my arms back up. Now when I press my hands down, I'm going to squeeze under my arms to pull my shoulders away from my ears. One more. Now continuing with this arm movement, I'm going to curl up my head, neck, and shoulders, finding the tips of my shoulder blades to curl up when I lower my arms. I'm going to inhale, lower my arms, curl to the tips of my shoulder blades in that same hundreds position that we were talking about on the mat. And as I raise my arms, I'm going to rest my head, neck, and shoulders. Stopping on my sternum and 12 for beat every time. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Now one more. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Bring your arms out to the V position, no wider than the reformer frame. Spiral out so you have more weight in your pinky blade edge. Now, without lifting your head, neck, and shoulders for 3, we're going to draw our pinky blade edge to our hip, squeezing under our arms, wrapping our ribs as if we're wearing a corset, and float it back up. Imagine that corset tightening as you bring your hands down to your hips. And one more. And now we have 3 more with the curl. Bring it back up out to the V. So narrow your V down to your hips and curl up. Drop your belly to your spine, draw your ribs to your hips, and float your head, neck, and shoulders down. Don't raise your arms above your sternum. And inhale, lift. Squeeze your knees together. Make sure you're seated in true tabletop. So you're not dropping your shins or bringing your knees in, or make sure that your table is flat and the legs of your table are right under your knees and over your hips. Now, bring your arms out to a T. Float them up off the mat a little bit. Give a nice tiny micro bend in your arm. Leaving your head, neck, and shoulders down. Inhale, exhale. Bring your pinky blade edge to your hips. Palms up and back out. Try to find that connection under your arm here. One more. And bring it back out. Now curl up. Inhale, exhale, lift. Coming to the tips of the shoulder blades, and down. And inhale, exhale to lift. And lower. One more. Good. Bring your arms back up over the sternum. Drop your elbows down to the mat, your elbows and biceps. Bring your arms up so they're in a 90-degree position. Your fingertips are right up to the ceiling. Now squeeze those biceps into the ribs. Extend your palms down to the mat and lift back up to 90. And extend to the mat. Lift up to 90. Don't allow your ribs to flare when you do this. We have 3 more. Good. One more. Now come back to the 90 and stay there. Without moving the carriage, slide your hands up a wall almost. So their arms are straight, and bend it back down to the 90. If you come like this and bring your arms back, you're going to move the carriage. So imagine that you're reaching away from yourself slightly, placing a little bit of pressure under your straps, not allowing the carriage to move. Keep your shoulder blades plugged into the mat. 2 more. Good. 1 more. Bring your arms down. Now extend your arms up. Bend your elbows. Bring your fingertips to touch each other as if you're holding a giant bowl. You don't want to move the carriage again. As you open your arms to the side, in the bent arm position. And inhale to open. My carriage is not in at the bumper, guys. I'm just holding it still. Here's 4. Squeeze your knees together. 5. Find that your tabletop. And 6. Now extend your arms up. Open to a T. Squeeze your pinky blade edge to your hip. Float your arms up to the ceiling. Open to the T. Squeeze your pinky blade edge to your hips. Open up to the ceiling. And a T. And a squeeze and a lift. Now stop. We're going to reverse the arm circles. Squeeze your hands down to your hips. Flip your palms up. Open to the T. Bring them up over your sternum. We're not allowing our arms to go up any further because we don't want to lose the connection under our arms here. This is going to help to lengthen our neck. Pull everything away. Stop here. Place your feet down for a second. Release your arms. Bring your feet wide to the outside corners of your foot bar and windshield wiper your hips. When you windshield wiper your hips, the opposite hip can come up, but leave that 12th rib in the mat. Good. Now, bring your feet back to tabletop. Reach your fingertips back up over your sternum. We're going to curl up again, but we're going to extend our legs to the 45-degree working angle to get ourselves ready for the hundreds that we're about to do in a minute. So we're going to inhale, exhale to curl up, extend your legs to 45. My hands are floating off the mat just like they would be in hundreds. Pull your knees back to tabletop, rest your head, neck, and shoulders. Stop with your sternum and 12th rib and your hands. Inhale, exhale to curl up and extend. And pull. Hands flat up, rest your head, neck, and shoulders. 1 more. Extend. Pull your knees back to tabletop. Reach your arms up, rest your head, neck, and shoulders. Allow the carriage to float into the bumper. Peg your straps. Come up off to the side. We're coming back to the mat. We're going to do some roll-ups. And then we're going to do some hundreds. So, we're going to do roll-ups because it's going to be an extension of what we did in mat previously. We're going to do some hundreds because it's going to be an extension of what we just did on the reformer. So reach your arms up in front of you. Roll your shoulders up, back, and down. Tuck your tail. Find your sacrum. Find your 12th rib. Find the tips of your shoulder blades. Rest your head, neck, and shoulders. Again, we're talking about the sternum and 12th rib. Our hands are going to float over the top. Don't swing your arms up. My feet are under the strap in case you need added support. Inhale. Tips your shoulder blades. 12th rib. Sacrum. Tuck. Don't release. Reach forward. Leave your biceps up by your ears. Draw your ribs towards your hips. Imagine someone has a strap behind you. They're yanking you back as you're reaching forward. And you have a deep abdominal connection. Inhale to roll back. Drop your shoulders. Find your tuck. Find your sacrum. Find your 12th rib. Find the tips of your shoulder blades. Rest your head and shoulders. Don't allow your ribs to pop. Inhale. Find the tips of your shoulder blades. Find your 12th rib. Find your sacrum. Find your tuck. Don't lose that C-shaped curve. Reach over your legs. Bring your biceps by your ears and inhale back. Tuck. And sacrum. And 12th rib. And tips to your shoulder blades. And down. Inhale, tips to your shoulder blades. 12th rib. Sacrum. Tuck. Round forward. We're halfway there and reach back. On the last 2, we're going to have the option of releasing your feet on the strap. My strap just fell off. If your strap does it or your pillow does it, just leave it. Inhale. 12th rib. Sacrum. Tuck. And forward. We have 2 more. Pull back to the tuck. Allow your arms to still reach forward and front, but squeeze under your arms, just like we did in the prone, or in the supine arms on the reformer. So we can find the connection underarm. See if you can find it here without the weight of the springs. One more. Go ahead and release your feet if you haven't yet to challenge your body. Draw your belly button to your spine. Squeeze under the arms. Nice long neck. When you're curling up and curling down, make sure you have space between your chin for an apple or an orange. My favorite one to see is an egg. Now, don't release that C-shaped curve. Articulate down to the mat. I'm going to press down my mat real fast. Inhale, exhale, right knee up, left knee up to tabletop. I'm going to reach my fingertips up to the ceiling. Coming out of my sternum, my 12th rib. I'm going to inhale, exhale to curl up. Extend my legs to my 45-degree angle. From there, I'm going to inhale and begin pumping. 2, 3, 4, 5, and inhale. I vigorously pump. I'm not bending at my elbow. The movement's coming from my shoulder blades. I'm wrapping my ribs, drawing my belly to my spine, and leaning my chin off my chest. I can be in turnout or parallel, so Pilates feet or parallel. I'm reaching up, reaching my ribs towards my hips. Trying to have my abdominals hold up my neck. Inhale. And exhale. 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. One more set. Draw your knees into tabletop. Rest your head against shoulders. Hold on to your knees. Give them a nice hug. Rock gently from side to side. Extend your legs long, not under the strap or the pillow. We're going to roll over onto our stomachs to do some prone body work. We're going to do a chest lift swan variation, and we're going to do some swimming work. So, I'm going to create a pillow with my hands. I'm going to rest my forehead on my hands. I'm going to draw my ribs up and in, draw my belly button up towards my spine, squeeze my inner thighs together. The stronger I draw my belly button to my spine and squeeze my thighs together, the more I can protect my low back. There will not be as much upward mobility in the chest lift. It is more back muscles working than anything else on this back extension. So, I'm going to inhale, lift my head, neck, and shoulders, allow my hands to float up with my forehead. Press my legs into the mat and exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Exhale to lower. Don't allow your ribs to flare, your belly button to drop. Imagine yourself growing taller towards the wall. And exhale to lower. For the next two, we're going to add on. If you are done with swan, please go ahead and find a child's pose. If you'd like to continue just doing the swan without the rotation add-on, please feel free. We're going to inhale, lift. I'm going to look or rotate towards the right and center. Nothing below my belly button is rotating, so I shouldn't feel a hip lift. And lower. Inhale, lift. And I'm going to look to the left or rotate to the left and center. Rotate to the right and center and lower. From there, I'm going to extend my arms over my head. I have the same body position, so I'm drawing my belly to my spine, squeezing my glutes and inner thighs, drawing my belly button up and in, reaching my arms over my head and squeezing under my arms though, so I'm not popping my shoulders to my ears. From there, I'm going to squeeze just my glutes, so nothing's going to shift on the backs, on the front of my hips, and I'm going to float my right leg up and lower. And I'm going to float my left leg up and lower. As I do this, I'm drawing my belly button up even tighter to my spine to support my lower body. One more on each side. Good. We're going to do the same thing with arms. So rest your legs, press them into the mat. Rest your forehead down, float your right arm up. Don't shift anything in your body, and lower. And left arm. Think of this as kind of like the hundreds, where you were moving from the shoulder. Same thing, nothing else is moving. And right arm. And left arm. All right, now, We're gonna lift our left leg, right arm, and lower. Left arm, right leg. Stretch energy out of your legs and your fingers. Right arm, left leg. Left arm, right leg. One more time on each side. Belly button up to spine, grab your ribs. So inhale, exhale. Chest lift, float both legs up, and begin swimming. Right leg, left leg, or right arm, left leg, and switch. And inhale, and exhale. Try to leave your biceps by your ears, so don't look forward. Look down at the mat. And inhale, belly up to spine. And inhale, and exhale. And one more. And exhale. Reach out long, 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 and lower. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Now, press up into a cat. Don't move your hands. Sorry, make sure it was moving. Bring your feet together and start to press back in the cat. So you're getting a strong stretch under your arms. So you're in a cat pose in a shell shape and a round back, reaching your heels for your glutes. Don't flat back to this. Stay around it. It is an active stretch. Now release back into child's pose. Take your left arm, thread it under your right arm, looking out for a side stretch in your child's pose. Come back to the center. Take your right arm, thread it under your left arm. Bring your hand under. And now, leaving your heels on your hips, begin to walk back slowly, just like you did for the roll down. Vertebra by vertebra. Roll up, 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 as if you're rolling up a pole on your back. Head comes up last. We're gonna do neck pull, because after this, so we've done roll up and neck pull. After this, we're going over to the short box. We're going to be doing the short box exercises of round back, flat back, and side bend. If you remember, we already did side bend at the beginning of class when we were stretching and warming up. So I'm going to extend my feet under my pillow or under my strap. They are flexed. I do separate them slightly. Sit up nice and tall. Grab your ribs. Bring your fingertips to the front of your head. We're going to inhale, hinge back with a flat back. Now tuck. Now articulate down to the mat, just like we worked on in the beginning of class. Now inhale, rounding up, just like we did at the beginning of class. Round over your legs in that C-shaped curve, like in roll up. Without moving your hands. Come up into the flat back hinge. You'll remember this from when we stretched forward and folded over our legs. And squeeze your glutes to sit up tall. Now continue, flat back, lean back. Tuck your tail, articulate down to the mat. Inhale, twist your shoulder blades, 12th rib, sacrum. Continue to run over your legs. Find that flat back hinge where the tip top of your head and the tailbone shoot out. Now, sit up tall and flat back. And hinge back. Tuck your tail. Articulate down. Find your shoulder blades. Find your 12th rib. Find your sacrum. Round over. Come up to the flat back. Sit up tall. If you would like a challenge, take your hands interlace and place them at the base of your skull, not up on your skull. At the base of your skull. So your thumbs are long down your neck. Don't go like this when you round up though. So you have to leave your arms nice and wide, flat back hinge, tuck your tail, articulate down. Round forward, coming through those back positions or those back landmarks. Hinge up on the flat back hinge and sit up tall. If you're feeling good about life, if you like your hands here or here, go ahead and remove your feet from the strap. Let's see how we all do, including myself. Flat back, hinge back. Now when your legs start to feel light, tuck and articulate down to the mat. And inhale, finding all those landmarks across your back. It's a little harder without the help of that strap, right? Run over your legs, flat back, hinge up. Sit up tall. Final one. Now tuck, articulate down to the mat. Inhale, tips your blades, 12th rib, sacrum, and keeping that C-shaped curve. Fold over your legs, come into a flat back hinge, and sit up tall. Good. Let's take it over to the reformer. So, I'm going to place my box in a short box position on my reformer. I'm going to place 4 to 5 springs on to assist me with my short box movements. Adjust your reformer where you need to for short box for your body. I'm going to drop my foot bar. I'm going to yank on my safety strap to make sure it is properly placed. I'm going to sit down, place my feet under the safety strap. I geared my reformer out. I don't like my knees bent. I don't like my feet pressing into the standing platform, and that's why I gear out. I'm going to make sure I have a hand's width from my back, my booty, to the back edge of my carriage, or my box. I'm going to make my hands into a fist. I'm going to hook them together. I'm going to place them on my belly button, place my thumb on my belly button. From there, just like we've been working on all class, but sitting up tall, I'm going to crease up my sternum. So I'm on the tips of my shoulder blades, let's say, same body position. Drawing my belly button towards my spine. I can't find a good position here. From there, without losing that C-shaped curve, I'm going to articulate back, squeeze underneath your arms, and I'm going to round forward. I'm not finding a flat back at any time. And inhale, come back. And exhale, forward. Reaching my legs out long. Drawing my belly to my spine. I want to draw my belly button away from my hands. We want to find earthquake abs here, guys. So wherever you feel the shake, that's right. Ooh, I had a shake. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but it was a big one. We have 2 more. There it is. Ooh. I have 1 more. Nice shake. And don't drop your feet. Come up to a flat back position. Squeeze down in your arms, draw your abdominals up and in. Just like in neck pull, we're going to flat back, hinge back. Squeeze your glutes to sit up tall. Tall, tall. And inhale back. And squeeze your glutes to sit up tall, tall, tall. Here's 3. Try not to let your feet drop if they're lifted. Try not to tuck. People love to tuck and flat back, and they love to flat back and round back. 1 more. Leaving your arms up. We're going to reach to the left, just like we do with our hand on the ground, but up. Reach long out of both sides, leaving your right hip connected to the box, and up through center, and lean to the right. Anchor that left hip down. Imagine you're between 2 panes of glass, and you can't go forward or back. And to the right. I'm a strong believer that we do not have enough side bending in our life. My trainer, Katie Rowley, taught me that. And from adding more side bending in, I 100% agree with her. Changed my life. Come back into the center. Release your feet. Shake out your legs. I know that's a lot of work. We're going to come off to the side. We're going to bring our machines back to the previous position. We are going to have 1 blue spring on. 1 blue spring on my machine is 1 light spring. I'm going to take my box. I'm going to move it, but first I'm going to take my straps. I'm going to drop them off to the back. From there, I'm going to take my box, And I'm going to use it to assist me in my kneeling reverse curl to make sure that I'm not pulling with my underarms, sawing my arms. I want to make sure that I'm using that articulation that we've been working on this entire class, that tuck, to move the carriage, if I move it. Sometimes the carriage doesn't move, and that's fine. I drop my headrest because I prefer it, it's not necessary. I'm going to come onto my knees. So if you have knee problems and you'd like a little pad or take a yoga mat, roll it up once, twice, slide it under your knees, or a towel, you can find that and do that now. Otherwise, I'm going to come onto my knees. My thighs are going to be pressing into the shoulder blocks. I'm going to press my blocks back just a little bit. I want it so that, for me, where it's comfortable is right so that this part of my forehead is very close to the box. I'm going to use it as tactile feedback to make sure I'm not sawing with my arms. So I want it close enough to where if I saw, I'm definitely going to know it, right? So I'm in a true quadruped position. My hips are over my knees, my shoulders are stacked over my wrists. I've taken my thumbs, I brought them to the outside of the reformer with my fingers in case I accidentally hit them with the reformer. So I'm going to squeeze under my arms. From there, I'm going to move the carriage by tucking my tail and lifting up into a cat. And come back to neutral. Now I'm going to tuck and lift. Round, round, round. And release. When you get it, it's way harder than it should be. Don't pull the carriage by bending your knees or straightening them. So if you pull away like this, that's not correct either. You want to leave your legs where they are and use your abdominal connection and the articulation in your spine to move the carriage. We have 3 more. There's 6. And 7. 1 more. And 8. Now, I'm going to take my left hand. I'm laying my right hand where it is. I'm going to bring it right here. I'm going to bend my elbow slightly on my left arm. I'm rotating. I don't want to press my hips back. I want the bottom part of my body to stay squared off still. And now I'm going to do the same rounding movement, but I'm going to get more oblique on my right side when I do it. So I'm going to tuck and come back. You're going to have to trust that you can do this with your oblique and your abdominals and try not to saw with your arms. So try to look down at your arms and make sure they're not moving. And then drop your head. And come back to neutral. 1 blue spring is more than enough. One more. Come back through center. Find that nice quadruped position anymore where your shoulders are directly over your wrists. Then bring your right hand over to your left hand. Thumbs lined up with your fingers so they're not going to get sawed off, right? Make sure that you're not pressing your hips back one way or the other over here. Now tuck and release. Make sure that your arms aren't moving. You'll know if you moved your arms, because you'll be able to see them move forward and back. And neutral. Here's 6. Press your shins into the mat. And 7. Now 1 more. And here's 8. Come back to the neutral spine. Take your fingers, line them up long. Don't drop your thumbs down, because again, we don't want to saw them off. We're not going to be moving the carriage. We're going to go to tuck that into an angry cat. And lift our head and lift our tail for a cow. And articulate up. And press up. And lift your tail, lift your head. And tuck your tail, tuck your head. And lift your head, lift your tail. Now, bring your feet together. Press back into a child's pose. Rest your head on your headrest. Reach your arms long down the frame of your reformer. Take 1 more nice deep breath. And now, Leaving your tail on your heels, your glutes on your heels, walk yourself up. The tip top of your head is the last thing to articulate up. Carefully step off to the side. I'm gonna move my box so that you guys can see our last exercise a little bit better. We're going to be doing bent knee tree on the mat. I am going to do it with the strap. Do you have to do it with the strap? No, absolutely not. I have taught it without the strap on the mat with straight leg. You can do it with bent knee on the mat with no strap. The strap is just there for added support. It's just nice. Let's go ahead and sit up nice and tall. Bend your knee in. Hold on underneath the knee like we did for the belly stretches, pardon me, at the beginning. And now sitting up tall, we're just going to extend our leg long and bend at the knee to tap our toe on the mat. And extend and bend. Now extend and leave your leg there. Now pull your toes back, pull the ball of your foot back to flex your foot. Press out through the ball of your foot, point your toes. Pull just your toes back, pull the ball of your foot back. Press through the ball of your foot, point your toes. One more. Ball of toes, ball of foot, press through the ball of the foot, point the toes. Circle the ankle 3 times in each direction. 1, 2, sit up nice and tall, 3, and reverse, and 2, and 3. Now widen the elbows and pull your leg for 1, and 2, you guessed it, 3, bend your knee. Press your thigh away from you in your hands as you tuck your tail. We are adding on to our warm-up from the beginning of class by making it one-sided. So we're going to tuck, find our sacrum, find our 12th rib, find the tips of our shoulder blades, rest our head, neck, and shoulders. Now, as you come up to the tips of your shoulder blades, press your thigh away from you. It'll add load and support to help you find the articulation. Come up to your 12th rib, find your sacrum, find your tuck, sit up tall. Now tuck, find your sacrum, find your 12th rib, tips of your blades, head, neck, and shoulder. Curl up to the tips of your shoulder blades, find your 12th rib, find your sacrum, find your tuck, lift up tall. One more and tuck. Find your sacrum, find your 12th rib. Find the tips of your blades, lower down, reach your arms up to the V, platform your blades down onto the mat. Now, we're gonna do knee swirls or hip circles, just tiny ones. 1, going across the midline first, or away from it, whichever one you start with is fine. And now we're gonna go away. Keeping both hips on the mat. 3, place your hands back behind your knee. We're gonna add on to the curl up to do a one-legged teaser. So, press your thigh away from you, come up to the tips of your blades, find your 12th rib, find your sacrum. Now sit up so you're in a flat back position. Extend your leg if you're able to, and then if you're able to, reach your arms. Hold on behind your knee, bend your leg, sit up tall, rest your toe on the mat. Slide it underneath the strap. Good job, guys. Let's do the other leg. We'll take a nice deep breath because we're gonna be all done with class. So, I'm gonna pull my knee in, sitting up nice and tall. I'm going to extend my leg and bend it, tapping my toe on the mat. I have equal weight on both the backs of my sit bones. My hair is doing something really funky. It is what it is. Extend my foot, pull my toes back, pull the ball of my foot back to flex foot. Press through the ball of my foot and point my toe. When you pull your toes back, try to make sure that you're pulling all your toes back evenly. Press through the heel, press through the ball of your foot, point your toes. 1 more, toes, and flex, and ball of the foot, and toes. 3 ankle circles. And reverse. Sit up nice and tall, and pull your leg in for 1, and a 2, and a 3. Now bend your knee. Now tuck. Press your leg away from you for support as you find your sacrum, your 12th rib, the tips of your shoulder blades, your head, neck, and shoulders. Now, press your leg away from your hands as you find the tips of your shoulder blades, your 12th rib, your sacrum, your tuck. Come up and find a tuck. And find your sacrum and your 12th rib, tips of your shoulder blades. Now find all those positions again. slow, pressing your thigh away from you. The added assistance should make finding the stretch down your spine very nice. Now, arms up to the V, plug your shoulder blades down your back, hip circles, just hip swivels. Just something nice for your hips. Just might feel a little good. Right, and 2, and 3. Place your hands behind your knee. We're gonna add on to that one-legged teaser. Come up to the tips of your shoulder blades, come up to your 12th rib. Find your sacrum, lift up into a flat back, extend your leg, reach your arms out long. Now find the behind your knee, bend your knee in, come up to sitting, place your toe on the mat, slide your foot out from under. Find a nice body position, inhale, arms up. Exhale it down. Guys, this was part 1 of my reformer mat. I will be releasing part 2 this month as well. I hope you'll join me for both parts, and have a great day. Thank you.